All right. In addition to just general triangles, there's some properties of specific types of triangles. The first one is an isosceles triangle. And so if you have, in a given triangle, any angles opposite equal sides are going to be equal themselves. Okay? So the relationship that's designated by this statement is basically that base angles of an isosceles triangle are equal to each other. Okay, now this same relationship works in reverse or in a converse, and that is if you're given a specific triangle, any sides opposite equal angles are also equal. And so both of those can be kind of based on that same property. Right? So in this triangle ABC, if sides AB and AC are equal, then the angles opposite those sides will also be equal to each other. Okay? So again, if you're working through the given problem, if this vertex angle is 70 degrees and you want to find the two base angles, you can still combine that with the properties of a triangle. The sum of the angles is equal to 180. So if you think of these as being the same, x plus 70 has to equal the whole sum of the angles, 180. Subtract a 70 from both sides, combine your like terms, isolate your x by dividing by 2, and you get your value for x. X is the actual measure for each of these angles, B and C. Okay, so see if you can use this property here to identify the value of angles A, B, and C given the second problem, please. All right, once again, you can solve this by thinking in terms of part to part to part, or you can think in terms of part to whole. Right, if you do think in terms of part to whole, what you need to be able to understand is even though the ratio is just given as 1 to 4 for A to C, you have to include B in the calculations. So if A is 1 and C is 4, where does B fit? Is B equivalent to angle A or to angle C? It's angle C, so it's also going to have that ratio part of 4. So if you're thinking part to whole, you have 1 to 4 to 4. So how many total parts are you dealing with here? 4 plus 1, so 9. So angle A represents 1/9 of the whole. Well, what is the whole? The sum of the angles, 180. And so 9 goes into 180, 20. So we get 20 degrees for A. Angle B is 4/9 of the whole. So again, 9 goes into 180, 20 times 4 is 80. And then C and B are equal in measure, so that would also be a B. Hey guys, remember there's 5 minutes extended on your schedules. So like I know the schedule on the back says class is out at 1:40, but we still have an additional 5 minutes. So you could have also identified this by solving it using part to part to part, which would represent x. The base C would be 4 times that same multiplier. B is equivalent to C, so it's also 4 times that multiplier. And so you could set it up 4x plus 4x plus x is equal to 180, and you can solve. Again, you wind up with all the same numbers here. You'd still be working with a value of 20 as your x, and work through it in that form.